Everyone. In this session, we will be covering the chapter Japan and Brazil through a traveler's eye. This chapter is written by George Mick. Let's see what he has to say from his travel log on the culture of Japan. So let's get started. What do you see here? A man is speaking on his telephone with someone deeply involved in a conversation. And what do you observe about the passerby? None of the passerby here is poking the nose or trying to hear what the person is speaking. And the man also is not bothered about what the passerby has to say or whether the passerby are hearing his conversation. So this is what the writer has to say. Spend a quarter of hour in Japan and it is enough to convince you that you are living amongst exclusively well-mannered people. A man's telephone receiver is his castle. Wow, amazing punchline. This line is enough to prove that utmost level of privacy one has. Any passerby could listen to, any passerby could hear to what the person is speaking, but nobody actually does. Whether it is a confidential business transaction, whether it is an intimate love quarrel, everything is happening in public, yet with perfect privacy. So this is why this line is connoted, and you can see how it is replicated in the picture right left in the slide. Man is least bothered about the passerby. It is as if the telephone booth or the place where he's speaking is his castle. He doesn't have to worry about his privacy. Now, I would like to explain the usage of the word public. Why is the word public used? Public yet in perfect privacy. So, public means that these red phones, telephones were situated in the street, in the halls of hotels, or in the shops. Mostly it was kept on table or in the counter. This was because of lack of space. There was no separate space to spare for the booth. And that is why the line connoted as in public yet in perfect privacy. Bowing means the obsession for bowing. See, what happens is when you think you're visiting Japan, what will you observe actually? You'll observe that everybody is keeping on bowing to everybody else. You spend a few hours there and you yourself will naturally start bowing to someone, right? But there might be certain mistakes. The writer says that when you bow, you might go wrong in bowing to the wrong person, or you might clasp your hands in front while bowing, which might look awkward, or you might not, which looks more worse. So these are the mistakes what you can do while bowing. So the writer is telling about his experience that when he went to Japan, he found everyone obsessed with bowing. Like everyone were bowing to each other, and then bowing naturally starts coming to you. What you see in this picture, different level in the angle of bowing. Even if a split of a second your bow is shorter than the person who is standing opposite to you, it reflects the difference in rank, difference in age, or the social position the person who is standing opposite to you hold. So if you're bowing to someone, you bow keeping that perspective in your mind. So by now you would have discovered that Japanese have a complicated hierarchy in bowing. Who bows to whom, how much they bow, how deeply they bow. So all this might be a very minute detail to the person who just sees it, but these are the perspectives and keys which they keep in mind while bowing to the person opposite to them. Discussing all this, the writer recalls that one of the American states had an earlier traffic law. So the law was such that when two cars meet at intersection, neither of the car will move unless the other car is gone. So now he relates this to Japanese culture. What he says is when two Japanese bow to each other, none of them stand erect unless the other person does. Now, this seems very complicated to us, but they manage it without any difficulty. Discuss basic rules inside a family. First one is wife bows to the husband. The child bows to his father. Younger brothers to elder brothers. Sister bows to all brother irrespective of their age. So these are certain rules that is followed in a family in Japanese culture. So the writer writes down what he deeply observes and finds unique in his journey. In the very first picture, you can see how beautifully it's portrayed that when the mother is bowing, baby also bows. This is a way of showing or telling how the culture of bowing is inherited into the roots. In the very second picture, you observe that bowing girls are appointed by the stores to bow and welcome people on the top of the escalators. Fast and famous Tokaido line between Tokyo and Osaka. Now it seems a little theatrical of how they march into the middle of the coach. Then after marching into the middle of the coach, they bow ceremoniously in both the directions. And it's after this process of bowing coming into the middle of the coach that they start checking the tickets. So this was one of the incident he recalls. At last he recalls about the parts of Nara, where he meets a deer. He says that deers are more imitative than he actually thought. By this he means that the deer also bowed to him. He says that there is something genetic in the blood of Japan that the deer also bowed to me and then jumped and snatched the food bag from his hand. So these are the four instances he remembers from his travel journey to Japan. He says that you can often see that in bus stop, people are bowing to each other so ceremoniously, so neatly they bow to each other when they're in the bus stop. But now, when the bus arrives, these gentlemen who are bowing to each other are turned to savages. They push each other aside, they tread on each other's toes, shove their elbows into each other's stomach. So it is like they are trying to climb the bus, they are trying to, push everyone and get forward. So this observance, what he observes at the bus stop, he tries to script down in his writing. So this seems a little funny when we imagine of how we actually are greeting each other, and now the bus comes, we are running to catch the bus without, maintaining the same decorum while running onto it.
And sound. Slurping while eating noodles is actually polite.
So, eating soup is dangerous than anything else in Japan. Why do you think the writer would have said that? In Japanese culture, if you make a fearful noise while eating, it is like an appreciation you're giving for that meal. So by slurping, you show appreciation that you like the meal, or else it sounds disrespectful. But why is it now dangerous? They say that it's dangerous because the host, when you slurp, might think, what is this kind of person who is making such a distinguishing noise? And the other way round, the host, if you do not slurp, might think what a ill-mannered person he is. So it's a situation of insan kare to kare kya. So that's why this tagline, eating soup is more dangerous than anything else. By this, we have come to end of part 1, where we heard from George Miles, Japan through a traveler's eye. In next part, we will be covering up traffic in Brazil. Until then, do read the note on travel writing and comment on what you think about travel writing. Thank you. Have a good day.